Welcome to the Hidden Palace with Skyblaze.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. I am Skyblaze, and this is the Hidden Palace here on Radio Sega. Apologies for last week. I had a dreadful headache I just could not get rid of. I ended up having to take the amitriptyline, which is the Godzilla threshold medication, because it just knocks me the hell out. But I am here today. And today we are going to be looking at some games that were created by the game developer called Wolf Team. They have developed a small number of games across the Mega Drive, Game Gear, Mega CD, and even the Mega Laserdisc. So, yeah. Mega Laserdisc. Yes. Yeah, somebody asked me at Kokorokon, actually, it's like, what was your white whale as a collector? And I'm like, Pioneer Laser Active. It's never gonna happen, but it'd be nice. Some of you might know this developer from the games Solfius and Road Avenger, also known as Road Blaster. However, the games that we are looking at today are part of a linked trilogy rather than single games. So what's a Mega Laserdisc? It's I actually did an episode on this. They're games that are on Mega CD.
They're like LP records.
Yeah, they're the sides of LP records. They're Laserdisc games that also relate to the Mega CD. It's complicated. As I say, I do have an episode on this. I'll find it and link it at some point, where I go into a lot more detail about what a Mega CD or Mega Laserdisc is. But yeah, the Pioneer Laser Active is one of the few devices that can actually play them. They were not common. I think there are only like 4 or 5 of them. Anyway, I'm going to start with a game called El Viento, which released on the Mega Drive in 1991. This game is set in New York City, specifically in the late 1920s. The Empire State Building is still under construction. There may or may not be Daleks. That is a Doctor Who reference. But unbeknownst to many, a religious order are constructing a shrine within the Empire State Building, a shrine to their dark god known as Hastur. Those of you who have read Lovecraft will be going, wait, hang on, this sounds familiar. So, this religious order has come up with a plan to awaken their dark god, and to do so, they plan to sacrifice the sorceress Restiana, who is a descendant of Hastur. Boy, that has all sorts of interesting implications. But one person has made it her mission to stop them. This is another descendant of Hastur called Annette. And to stop her from defeating them, the Order of Hastur have hired Al Capone. No, really? To kill her. Although in the American localization, Al Capone's name is actually changed to Vincent DeMarcotto. For reasons. So... Al Capone. Okay then. El Viento is actually an action platformer in gameplay style. It works similar to Shinobi, and your main means of attack are Annette's boomerangs, which are thankfully infinite. You also get a selection of magic spells. And I will talk a bit more about these magic spells and some of the other aspects of gameplay after this music section. So we have a track from El Viento, which is called High Sky. And then after that, we have a track, as I mentioned, it was like Shinobi, so we're going to have a track from Shinobi, the Shinobi arcade version. This is BGM number 1. Have a listen and let me know what you think, and I'll be back after this music break to talk a bit more about El Viento.
listening to Radio Sega, playing the best Sega music 24/7. Sega!
And we are back, and that was from Shinobi Arcade, BGM number 1, and before that we had from El Viento, High Sky. So as I mentioned, that you do have boomerangs, but you also have magic spells in El Viento. The first spell that you start with is Fireball. Insert D&D meme here. Which is stronger than your boomerang, but as with all of your magic spells, you expend your magic power through the use of these spells, which can limit how often you cast them. Thankfully though, your magic power does regenerate as long as you are not casting any other spells. So, spam cast spells until you run out of magic, throw boomerangs repeatedly until your magic regenerates, wash, rinse, repeat. Defeating enemies and collecting items will give you experience, which is how you learn new spells, such as Water Current. This creates a water snake that flows across the ground, and Wind Cutter, which creates a horizontal wave of wind. It's also how you... experience is also how you increase your overall health and magic power. Darren's saying that the series that I'm talking about now is going to get a collection on Switch and PS4 and PS5. Okay, that's a choice. I mean, okay. I mean, I thought I was covering something relatively obscure, but it's not too obscure to get a Switch port, so make of that what you will. Where was I? Ah yes, between each stage we also get cutscenes which give more of the story. And in one of these cutscenes we get to see the star of our next game, Ernest Evans. Sort of. Now, I say sort of, because the American and Japanese manuals for the game Ernest Evans give very conflicting stories about what's actually going on. I mean, this is not completely unusual for early game translations, as a lot of publishers and developers change the story pretty radically between regions. Changing names, changing entire storylines in some places. I mean, there's some really infamous ones. I'm sure the people in the Discord chat can name a few that they can think of. Working Designs, we're looking at you. I mean, this is for a whole bunch of reasons, whether or not it doesn't have a cultural context that will fit that well, whether or not they're trying to make this game sell better in other countries, or sometimes it's just like their translators are not given enough time, or they don't have enough experience. Sometimes it's just laziness. It can be a whole bunch of things. But let's talk a bit about Ernest Evans in the next section. So I'm going to have one the first track from Ernest Evans I'm going to play is the Stage 5 music. And then it turns out that one of these tracks has had a re-release from the Sing Sega game music presented by B.B. King. So this is the track called Dangerous Heart, and it was requested by Electric Boogaloo. It was also requested by another person who messaged me called Lifeline. I'm not sure if they're using the same name on the Radio Sega server, but they also requested it, but Electric Boogaloo got there first. So enjoy those, and I'll be back after this music break to talk a bit more about Ernest Evans and some of the weird things that went on with the translation. Enjoy!
Hello, my name is Gavi and you're listening to The Hidden Palace with Skyblaze on Radio Sega.
excited, it's a plain view. Don't believe me, it's a plain view. Get down now, one kiss and you're going down. Oh, and there was her, she was just as hard aren't you? Loving the eyes, taking your feet into the skies. Oh, so don't be a fool. She will bring your heartache, heartbreak. Oh, I wanna know. She let me in, she let me go. No, and there is heart, and there is heart. Don't you ever stop, she do your heart, then there is heart.
So that was Sing Sega game music presented by BB Queen's Dangerous Heart, requested by Electric Boogaloo, and before that we had from Ernest Evans the Stage 5 music. So, let's talk about some regional differences then, shall we? So in the Japanese version, which was also published by Wolf Team, the year is 1926, and Ernest is being sent to Peru by the US President to locate the Necronomicon, and prevent it from falling into the hands of Al Capone. There he is again. Unaware that by doing so, he'd also be keeping it out of the hands of the cult of Hastur. However, in the American version, which is published by Renovation Products, the year is 1980, and Ernest is the grandson of the Ernest from the first game, and it is his mother, and young Ernest is tasked by Grandad Ernest with locating 3 idols, which together would summon an entity called Mavor, who plans to merge with the planet and use it as a vehicle to roam the universe. What?
Getting kind of Final Fantasy VII vibes for that.
I mean, yeah, merge with the planet to roam the universe, that's basically Genova. But I'm fairly sure this was published before 1997, so that's weird. Secondly, so he's the son, not grandson, son of Annette from the first game, who was an adult in the 1920s. But his granddad, who was also an adult in the 1920s in the first game... oh no, I've gone cross-eyed. Oh my god. I got nothing. The timelines there do not match up. Absolutely not. So, with that confusing aside out of the way, let's look at the gameplay. I'm going to loop the talkbed as well. So, the game is similar to the first game, in terms of it being an action platformer. However, there is a slight graphical change, as the sprite animation is where we see some differences. With some games, the bosses can sometimes be formed of multiple sprites in order to give the illusion of more fluid movement. Well, Wolf Team decided to try that out here for the protagonists, which is a little bit weird. The effect is a little bit confusing, as the protagonist doesn't show the same sprite animation that you would generally tend to see from a game of like 1991, 1992 era. Ernest also appears to take a page out of the Book of Belmont, as his starting weapon is a whip, which allows him to attack foes from a distance, as well as hooking into bits of scenery to help navigate each stage. You know, Spider-Man styley. While he cannot wield magic, he can use some other weapons, such as exploding rocks, a morning star, and a heavy club. Electra Boogaloo's saying, I feel like this should have stuck with President Coolidge and the Necronomicon. Yeah, me too. It's weird. The American version makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. One thing to note is that the game was released on the Mega CD in Japan on the 20th of the 12th, 1991. This was only a week after the Mega CD was actually released in Japan. Unfortunately, since the US didn't actually get the Mega CD until October the following year, they had to make do with just a Mega Drive release, which means losing out on not only the cutscenes, but also the far superior soundtrack. Electrical is also saying, it's like a marionette in a sense. The character is made of multiple separate sprites and they rotate independently. Yeah, I can see how it would be a bit marionette-like. Purvis is saying Al Capone would do less damage with the Necronomicon than Calvin Coolidge. Yeah, see, I don't know a huge amount about American history, so this is kind of lost on me. So, I mean, if somebody can educate me on what Calvin Coolidge did that was bad, I know absolutely nothing about him. And Don's quite rightly saying, no, don't give a president the Necronomicon. Yeah, I can only imagine that going badly. Anyway, let's have some more music, shall we? So, from Ernest Evans, we have the Stage 1 theme. This is the Mega CD remix by Retro Game... How do you say that? Retro Game Maniac. Okay. That one was requested by Lifeline, who did actually get there first in that one. And I also have the Road Avenger ending theme. The quality of this is not the best. Engine Man and I both tried our best, but we could not find a decent quality version of it that hadn't been messed about with, or hadn't had somebody put it through AI. Don't do that. It doesn't help. If you're going to remaster something, have a professional do it. Just don't feed it into an AI. Anyway, so let's have a listen to those, and then we will talk about our final game for today. Yeah, so have a listen, let me know what you think, and I'll be back after this music break to finish off talking about the games we're covering. And that was Road Avenger ending theme. And before that we had from Ernest Evans the Stage 1 theme, which was a Mega CD remix, requested by Lifeline. Our new requester. Thank you so much for sending your requests in. Electropical is saying that they think that there's a part 2 down the road for this one, because Wolf Team, and by extension its parent company, Telenet Japan, did a lot of third-party Genesis and Mega Drive titles during the 90s. Yes, but I've also got plans for some other topics. There's some Atlas stuff I want to do, and also I discovered recently about there's an effort to recover Japanese-only mobile games from the feature phone games. Because I was watching a little YouTube documentary about the recovery of Xenosaga Pied Piper. And I was like, I wonder if there's any Sega games that are on the wiki that the recovery team are using for these, and that's rather a lot of them. Gosh, this can keep me occupied for a while. So whenever I run out of topics and just go to that wiki, I'll just cover these. Or you can suggest them. Go ahead, I don't mind. Anyway, the last game in this trilogy is called Aneto Futatabi, or Annette Returns. It was released in 1993 for the Mega CD, and sing it with me now, only in Japan. Renovation Products were set to do an overseas release of this game as well, but this was sadly cancelled. We suspect because the poor translation of the original Japanese release. And, you know, the previous game probably didn't sell that well in other regions. This game takes place 2 years after the events of El Viento, and we are again playing as Annette, as she's travelling across Europe fighting against a military group called Nexesis, interesting word, who are trying to bring destruction to the world. Of course they are. Loop talk a bit. On starting this game, you are immediately able to see a plain change in the playstyle, as we've gone from an action platformer into a side-scrolling beat-em-up similar to Streets of Rage. Annette is now armed with a weapon called the Psycho Sword. Okay. And a new selection of spells which affects all enemies on screen, although they sadly can't be used against bosses. Boo! One interesting thing to note is that you have access to all of her spells right from the beginning. However, in order to use the more powerful spells, you need to give your magic meter time to charge. As each time it charges up, it progresses on to the next spell on the list. Similar to how magic works in Golden Axe and Golden Axe 2. Which is pretty interesting. So yeah, this is probably the most obscure one out of the 3, because it was only released in Japan. So it's interesting that it's getting a re-release. I wonder if it's just if the how far in development the translation got before it was canned. Or if they're going to do an entirely new translation. That'd be pretty interesting. Darren's saying Japan thinks psycho stands for psychokinetic. Yeah, that comes up quite a lot. So Annette in this game is kind of like oh gosh, what's the name? The X-Men with the soul knife.
Psylocke.
Psylocke. Purvis is saying it sure gave me misleading thoughts about Mog Psycho 100 before I watched it. Yeah, it happens a lot. There's a weird kind of disconnect with what that actually means in English and what it means when it's translated from Japanese. Anyway, let's have some more music, shall we? So from Annette Futatabi, we have the Stage 5 music. And then this one is a request from Circuit Bird. Hello, Circuit Bird. I don't know if you're listening, or to this or to the podcast, but I hope you are. From Solfeast, we have the Mission 1 tune Cosmic Illusion. So please enjoy that, and I will be back after this music break to go into the chiptune corner.
Learning all the best of obscure Sega. Says Zenya, the playlist manager. Hidden Palace, Skyblaze.
And we are back. And that was Solfie's Mission 1 Cosmic Illusion, requested by Circuit Bird. And before that we had from Annette Futatabi Stage 5. Electric Boogaloo is saying one of my favourite aspects of Solfius is that the plot is to destroy a supercomputer called the GCSWT. GCSWT stands for Game Creative Staff Wolf Team. So the devs made themselves the villains. CyberConnect 2 Corp did the same thing in the Dot Hack games, because CyberConnect 2 were also referred to as CC Corp. And they're the bad guys in the Dot Hack games. Which is hilarious to me because I am weird. Anyway, it's time for the Chiptune Corner. So, chiptune artist Boy Meets Robot is also known by his regular human name of Mike. He and his robot buddy ROB make geeky chiptune rock with a Game Boy and a guitar. It has unfortunately been 8 long years since he launched his debut album, but apparently he still does the occasional live show. I am told. But I'm going to play one of his tracks, which is called Make Me Real. And if you do enjoy this, then I suggest that you check out some of his other work, which is available on his YouTube channel, which I am going to link in the chat. Where was I? Yes, so we have here from Boy Meets Robot a track called Make Me Real. I think it's pretty good, so have a listen. Please let me know what you think and if you enjoyed it. And I'll be back after this to close out the show. And we are back. And that was Boy Meets Robot, Make Me Real. I thought it was a pretty good kind of chiptune rock track, so I enjoyed it. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today. I believe coming up next we should have a Gavi with SNS. Although he is watching the Eurovision and I believe booze is involved, so I can't guarantee what state he's going to be in.
I can help you drunk state.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. Quiet in the cheap suits. I don't think Sega Mixer Drive is on tomorrow because I believe Rexy is jetting off on holiday. I hope she has a lovely time. Speaking of which, there will be no show from me next week because I am going to an SCA event in Wales next weekend. So I will be sat in a field, possibly getting drunk. I mean, are you going to take some of your homebrew mead?
I can find some, yeah.
If you haven't drunk it all. I'm hoping to have a show on the 31st, but then after that there's going to be another gap because then I'm going on holiday to Cyprus. Green Sky SCA, the Society for Creative Anachronism. It's a reenactment group, basically. So, as usual, if you have any ideas for topics that you think I can cover on the Hidden Palace, or suggestions for good chiptune songs for me to cover in the Chiptune Corner, please get in touch. You can reach me on Discord, where I'm Skyblaze42, or you can contact me through Blue Sky, where I am blazingskies.bsky. Whatever it is. Social, I think. Yeah, blazingskies.bsky.social. Or you can reach me through the official Radio Sega social media channels. I've been Skyblaze, and this has been the Hidden Palace here on Radio Sega. We've got one last track to go out on. Take care, everybody, and good night.
Enjoyed the show? Check out the full Radio Sega live schedule at radiose.ga/shows. Radio Sega, playing the best Sega music 24/7.